time to reconsider, my dear Miss Taylor. Come back home with us. James will not mind turning the carriage round, and nobody you know would take it amiss.
Papa, Mr. Weston would take it very much amiss.
Dear Mr. Woodhouse, you are very kind. I shall miss Hartfield, but I am very happy to become Mr. Weston's wife. Truly, I am.
But it's all very disturbing, Emma. 6 good hens and now Miss Taylor. It's sad business. Good morning. Good morning.
Repeat after me. I, William Francis Weston.
I, William Francis Weston.
Take thee, Anna Taylor.
Take thee, Anna Taylor.
Poor Miss Taylor.
Oh, Father.
What a pity it is that Mr. Weston never thought of her.
But, Father, you wouldn't have Miss Taylor live with us forever when she could have a house of her own. It's been a long time since I needed a governess.
She will never see us now. Randalls is such a distance.
It's barely half a mile, Father. Depend upon it, we shall see Mrs. Weston nearly every day.
Well, I take it very ill when people get married and go away. I think they should not do it.
Will you play at backgammon, Father?
Oh. Why will people call at such a late hour?
There you are. How are you, Thomas, and your family?
Very well, Mr. Knightley. Thank you, sir.
Well, how did it go? I'm sorry to have missed it. How did you all behave? Who cried most?
Ah, poor Miss Taylor.
Poor Mr. Woodhouse? Poor Miss Woodhouse, if you like, but I can't say poor Miss Taylor. At the very least, she has only one to please now, not 2.
Especially when one of those 2 is such a fanciful, troublesome creature. Is that what you were thinking?
Perhaps.
I'm afraid that's very true. I believe I am sometimes very fanciful and troublesome.
Oh, dearest Papa, I didn't mean you. Mr. Knightley didn't mean you. I meant only myself. Mr. Knightley loves to find fault with me, you know.
Oh, dear.
In a joke. It is all a joke.
Ah, yes, of course.
We always say what we like to one another. Well, you want to hear about the wedding? We'll behave charmingly. Everybody punctual, everybody in their best looks, not a tear and hardly a long face to be seen.
Dear Emma bears everything so well.
But every friend of Miss Taylor's must be glad to see her married.
And you've forgotten one matter of joy to me, that I made the match myself.
You made a lucky guess, Emma. That's all that can be said for you.
I wish you would not make matches, my dear. For whatever you say always comes to pass. Pray, do not make any more of them, Emma.
Oh, I promised to make none for myself, Papa, but I must indeed for other people. Poor Mr. Elton now. I must look about for a wife for him.
You'd do better to leave the poor man alone, Emma.
But he has been here a whole year, and he has fitted out the vicarage so comfortably, it'd be a shame to have him single any longer.
Smith. She's somebody's natural daughter, you know.
She seems a very sweet, genteel girl.
Indeed she is. She has just now returned to the school as parlour boarder. She spent the summer at her friend's house in the country. It would be good for her to have the benefit of more varied society.
Would you like to send her on Tuesday to my father's whist party?
Oh, Miss Woodhouse, that is very kind.
I should be glad to know her better.
Mrs. Bates, let me propose you venturing on one of these eggs. An egg boiled very soft, you know, is not unwholesome. Yes. Mr. Perry is not altogether against eggs, are you, Mr. Perry?
Against eggs? No, indeed. A soft-boiled egg will do you no harm.
There you are, Mrs. Bates. Mr. Perry says it is all right.
Indeed, she dearly loves a fresh egg softly boiled.
I think she does not hear, Miss Bates.
Mr. Knightley was so good as to let us have 3 dozen of his very best fresh laid eggs.
Searle understands boiling an egg better than anybody.
And when his man, William Larkins, brought them around, he said that Mr. Knightley is left without an egg.
I would not recommend an egg boiled by anybody else.
Imagine no eggs at Donwell Abbey, but then he is so very generous.
You need not be afraid. These are very small, you see. One of our small eggs will not hurt you. I think she does not hear, Miss Bates.
Allow me to help you, Mrs. Bates.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Elton. You are very, very kind within everyone.
And they have 8 cows, 2 of them Aldenese, and 1 a little Welsh cow. A very pretty little Welsh cow. And Mrs. Martin said as I was so fond of it, it should be called my cow. Do you know the Martins, Miss Woodhouse? Mr. Martin knows you by sight very well. His farm is very near to Donwell.
Then they must be Mr. Knightley's tenants. I may have seen Mr. Martin 50 times without having any idea of his name. A young farmer's not at all the sort of person to raise my curiosity.
No, I suppose not. But they have 2 parlours, 2 very good parlours.
Indeed. Well, Harriet, I'm sure these Martins must feel very proud to entertain a gentleman's daughter.
I do not know that my father is a gentleman, Miss Woodhouse.
Oh, I'm quite sure he is. But even so, and particularly bearing in mind the misfortune of your birth, you should be very careful whom you choose as your friends.
Oh? Do you think so?
I'm quite sure of it.
Miss Smith, what do you say to a little bit of apple tart? A very little bit? Let Emma help you to a very little bit of apple tart.
No. Allow me.
Thank you, Mr. Elton.
How can I ever thank you enough, Miss Woodhouse, for showing me where true joy was to be found? Mrs. Elton and I are eternally indebted to you.
And to think that I should turn out to be the daughter of a baronet.
Why not? Stranger things have happened.